Hello friends, today we're going to be talking about volume, and the first lesson, which is lesson 11.1, is going to be talking about how to find volume using cubic units. And the next lesson is going to be talking about volume using a formula. So you're going to find 68 finding volume in your note packet and glue that in and pause it while you're gluing it in and then come back. Okay, so a cubic unit is the volume of a cube that measures 1 unit on each edge. That's a 1. Each cube is 1 cubic unit. It's written as the unit to the third power. To the third power. So it'd be meters cubed, centimeters cubed, because you have length times width times height. So we have 3, and we have 3 dimensions, and that is why we're using it, because a cube has 3 dimensions. So we're going to start with counting cubes. If the cubes are shown like this, you can count the cubes inside a rectangular prism. Remember to count the hidden cubes too, not just the ones that are showing. The bottom row for this one is 9 cubes. I'm actually going to do the top row here because I can see that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cubes. And how many rows do I have in this? There are 3 rows. So it's going to be 9 times 3, and it's going to be 27 cubes. That's going to be the total amount of cubes in this cube here, because one layer has 9 cubes, and I have 3 layers stacked on top of each other. This takes into account any of the hidden cubes. 1 cube is 1 centimeter. So they would always be centimeter cubed, just like here. Now, using the formula, I'm going to touch on this very quickly and go into more detail in the next lesson. But when we use a formula, we are going to do length times width times height. But it's also the same as the area of the base, which is the bottom, times the height, which is the area of the base times the height. Just like here. Because it is the area stacked on top of each other for a certain distance. So I'm going to do the example here. Find the volume of the prism. Volume equals 4 times 6 times 3. Okay? 6 times 3 here is my base. So whatever the area is here, I'm going to multiply it by 4 feet, and that's going to give me my volume. That would be 18 times 4, which would be 72 feet cubed. So we have, if the base and height are given, the base is the same as length times width. Length times width, because area is length times width. The area of the base would be length times width. So let's do some examples here. I would like you to go in your textbook, volume 2, and rip out page 458. You're just going to cut out this part and glue it into mine had to go all the way up to the very top. And then on page 459, I cut out the practice problems, 5 through 13. I had to glue it overlapping a little bit, and it went all the way down to the bottom. So do that and come back. All right, so it says volume is the number of cubic units needed to pack a solid figure without gaps or overlaps. A cubic unit is the volume of a cube measuring 1 unit on each edge, 1 unit on each edge. So my height is a unit, my width is a unit, and my length is a unit. What is the volume of this rectangular prism? So you can do you do 2 steps. First of all, we're going to count the number of cubes on the bottom. Now, if you can't see the bottom, I like to do the top because the top is going to be the same as the bottom. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cubes on the bottom. And how many layers are there? 2. We're going to multiply it by 2. So there are 30 cubic units in this figure. So let's do this one. We're going to find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 cubes. Now, we don't count these because this is just the side of this cube. This is a side, that's a side of the cube. That's 1 cube. So I just count the top. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many layers? 3. So that's going to be 27 cubic units. So we are going to say that these are, we're just going to say cubic units because it doesn't have a measurement. The next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 1, 2, 3 is 24 cubic units. Next one is 1, so I'm counting just the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 times 1, 2, there are 2 layers. So that's 40 cubic units. Okay. The next one, I'm going to put equal signs here, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with 2 layers. So we're going to be 16 cubic units. My next one is 2. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. So I'm 10 cubic units. This one here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3 layers. And we have 18 cubic units. I would like you to try 11, 12, and 13 on your own to see if you understand it before moving on to the next part of this video. So the 11 is 36 cubic units and 24 cubic units. Now, what I want to do here is there are 2 different, we're going to be talking about this in lesson 11.3, but I'm going to find the volume of this one and the volume of this one and add them together. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total, and it's 1 layer, so that's going to be 6 cubic units. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 4. Now I'm not going to count the bottom, any of the bottom layers because that is part of this figure. So it's going to be 22. 6 plus 16 equals 22 cubic units. Okay, and that is a lesson 11.1. All right, and a lesson 11.2 is finding volume using a formula. Now, we talked about in the last lesson, or part of the lesson, pardon me, that the volume is length times width times height. Okay? Volume is the unit times a unit times a unit. And that is why we have the unit cubed, the cubic unit. Because I'm multiplying 3 things, length, width, and height. So here are the formulas that we are going to use. You have length times width is my base, which is right here. This is your base. Okay, this is your length. Oh, wait, sorry, this is your height, I'm sorry. This is your width, and this is your length. So your width goes this way, your length goes that way, and your height goes how tall it is. Okay? So my base is length times width. Okay? B equals base. So my length and my width are my base, and I multiply it by the height. So if I don't have the length or the width and they just give me the base, I'm just going to multiply it by the height. If I have all three, I would do length times width times height. So this is what is the height. What happens if I have a missing unit? Okay, so I know that we have volume equals length times width times height. I'm going to fill in the blanks. My volume is 27. My base, which is, let's see here, 3 times 3, okay, times my height. I don't know what that is. So then I would say 27 equals, I'm going to put 9 times h. So what times 9 is 27? So it would be 9 times 3 equals 27. So that would be 3 is my height. What times 9 is 27? 3, so my length here, I'm going to write this down, is 27 units cubed. My length is 3, my width is 3, and I found out my height is 3. So let's look down here. If there are 3 layers of volume, what is the volume? So 3 layers is your height. This is 1 layer. So this is like you have 3 layers. So it'd be times 3. So we're going to find the volume of length times width times height. And then we're going to multiply it by 3. Okay. So my length times width times height would be 6 times 3 times 1. And then we're going to stack them up on top of each other to be 3. This would be 18 times 3. So one of these is 18 units cubed, is 1 layer. Okay? So if I have 3, we will have 54 cubic units. Okay? After the 3 layers, what happens if 5 more were added? Okay? Well, it would be 8 total, right? So we would do 18 times 8 layers. 18 is 1 layer times 8, and that's going to be 144 units cubed. All right, we're going to skip this for now. And I ripped out page 463 out of your textbook, and I cut out the bottom and I glued it on the top because we're going to need space for our work. So go ahead and do that, pause the video, and come back. Okay, so number 5. I always do my length times width times height equals volume, and I plug in my length, 7, my width, 4, and my height is 3, and that would be volume. So 7 times 4 is 28. 28 times 3 is 84. 84 centimeters cubed. 84 centimeters cubed. Now my next one is 6. I have 4 times 4 times 5 equals my volume. 16 times 5. That will be 80. I look at the inches cubed. I'm actually going to draw a line here so I can do the rest of them there. All right, 7. 7 gives me only the base. But if I remember, the base times the height is also the volume. Base times the height is also the volume. So my base is 52 and my height is 3. Oops. So let me do that again. My base is 52 and my height is 3. So my answer is going to be 156, and it is meters cubed is my volume. All right, number 8 also gives me the base. So base times height equals my volume. My base is 64, my height is 4, and my answer will be 256 centimeters cubed. We have squared here, and then we added an extra one in there. My next one is 7 times 7 times 7 is my volume. And that is going to be 49 times 7. And that will be 343 meters cubed. And my last one is 10. It also gives me the base times the height. So 153 times 7 is 1,071 feet cubed. So that is how you find the volume using cubic meters and a formula.